Hello, welcome back to my channel. The analysis will continue for this week, so we'll be looking at the pound and US dollar for this week. So let's just have a look at how last week performed. So we're currently on the weekly time frame, and as we can see, we're coming down to our resistance line here at 1.2569. We had a touch of rejection. But the EMAs are switched over for a buy indicator, so ultimately we're still in this short, but we're not too sure if the market has actually reversed yet. So until we get some definite confirmation along this point of 1.2570, like a double bottom or some sort of confirmation that we've got this switch to the upside, then we can continue looking for the best scenario. So let's just take it down towards the daily, see how it went. So we can see that we are currently oversold on the RSI, as we can see here. So we have our divergence, as we did mention last week. So we did get the change from the downwards momentum, so we're starting to slowly see the buyers come back into play. And one important thing that we can say that the bulls have kind of, or the bulls are starting to come back, is because this low and this lower high that we made, so this here, the close of the body, can you see how on the 7th of June it closed above? So this gives me a good indicator that we could potentially be looking for more of a reversal now. This is on the daily, so if we take it down to a 4-hour just to get a better sense of everything, we can see how what we projected. So this was the trade that we got into last week. So I think our recording from my last video was roughly around the early hours of the 3rd of June. So I was looking for this retest. This is hence why I drew this line going down on to touch this zone, which we did. So we got like a little touch here. So that would have been the ideal entry. So that was confirmation 1. And then confirmation 2 was the break up of the structure high. So we got that, and this led us to an entry point in along this region here. And so we roughly covered the ground around, I think it was roughly something like this. We roughly got about 100 pips of this, but the first initial target was here on my zone here at 1.2704. Now we can start to look for the analysis for this week. So playing off of what we can see right here, if you look at my EMAs, we have the crossover here. So this is a perfect time to say that we are looking for our bias. So we determine our bias by putting all these indicators together, get a judge of what's actually happening. So as we can see, we've had this indicate, the EMAs have been showing a signal for a sell, right? So we now have the switch over, so it's apparent that we see some confirmation that we can gain the attractiveness of all the bulls to come back into play, right? So we've got the switch over, so now we're in a buying potential situation. So how do we get into this in a buying opportunity to get the best possible scenario? So we need to look at the RSI just to get the proper validation. So judging by the RSI, we have some sort of divergence occurring here. So this is why sometimes you have to be careful with just the sole indicator on its own, and matching it up with another indicator is very important as well. So the indicator is showing some sort of divergence here. So we are a little bit unaware of what's going to be happening as over the next few days, but what I can presume is for confirmation and retesting of a certain level, right? So we have So over the past few days, in the last week, what actually happened with price in terms of this level at 1.2704 is we broke up and it eventually became support, as we can see through the pin bars here. So let me just zoom in. So we got the two pin bars here. So it was support for a good few hours before it came back down and broke support, and then it became resistance. So we've got the two pin bars showing resistance to the absolute specific point at 1.2704, where it became resistance, right? But then eventually price was able to force back open and close above, and then it led the momentum to close higher than this structure high, and it continued to go higher. And we also, it's important to see how we had this pin bar here as that would be some sort of retest of this line here. So let me just get rid of all of this. So the best scenario for us to get into this play and see if we can get higher, if this is able to continue higher, is if we can get some sort of confirmation here on this level again, before we go towards the upside like this. To the next target for me would be 1.2793. So target potential something along the lines of like this perhaps. And again, another potential just shy of 87 pips. But it's important that we have a look at this point here. So we could see price to come all the way over here. So that, I'm not surprised if we get a little touch up to the top of here. So that was a touch at 1.2813, just because this was also a previous lower high. So in terms of this week, I'm looking for longs, but it's also important just to make sure you're not blindly trading and just putting the trades in as soon as you watch this video. There is a specific point and strategy that I'm looking for before I enter this, so I'm not entering it now. I'm waiting for price to show its hands first before I partake in the market. So like I said, make sure you look at your own trades and your own strategy and your own analysis before you do put your own trades in. See how it works, and if you agree, then go ahead and take the trade. And of course, always use appropriate risk management. I think I'll do a video on risk management. I've not just got around to it yet, but I'm going to continue to focus my energy on the analysis for the time being. So if you do have any video requests, do let me know, and I'll give it a consideration. But for now, I'll be looking for longs, and we'll see how this plans out in the next week. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thank you.